You're with Newsmakers on the panel, David Round, Sheryl, Sutherland and Joe Kane. Well, on the national front, last Friday's flag-waving fracas on the steps of Parliament has rumbled on through most of this week's news. Was Russell Norman's pro-Tibetan protest an affront to an official dignitary and his dignity, or did the Chinese go berserk with their reaction to Russell Norman? How do we see this, David?
I'm with Russell Norman on this one. I haven't seen much video footage of the precise positioning of the people and all the rest. But look, here is a New Zealand Member of Parliament in Parliament grounds in a country dedicated to freedom of speech being manhandled out of the way by the goons attached to a foreign leader. And I think the Prime Minister is snivelling and shameful the way he licks the grovelling, kowtowing to him. The Chinese are paranoid about this. You can wave a Tibetan flag 100 yards away and they'll leap. And yes. I don't think he should have apologised. I think he was entitled within his rights, and that any statesman of dignity, such as the Chinese Prime Minister, should simply have, or President, or whatever he is, should have just walked calmly past.
Should we have set the Falun Gong movement on this visiting delegation?
Well, of course they were there anyway. I mean, you know, the sad part about it, I respect anyone's right to protest. I mean, let's go back to the Springboks. I mean, I did go to the games, but I respected the rights of those to protest. I think it's a really fine line when we actually allow or kowtow to a visitor to our country, showing such disrespect to actually what happened there about the rights of our people. And I'm with you on this. I think the Prime Minister got this a little bit wrong and should have been a little bit more circumspect in Russell Norman's or anybody's right to stand there with a flag.
Do you think the bottom line, in a pragmatic kind of way, is, oh look, China's too powerful, they're too useful to us to upset them? Is that the bottom line? This is all about trade, and to hell with our morality.
Oh, absolutely not. And I want to know where our security forces were when Russell Norman was being manhandled. In fact, I thought it was a pretty pathetic protest. Him crying, "Where is my flag?" somewhat weakly. Didn't add much gravitas to the situation. Frankly, pardon the pun, I thought he should have rustled up a few more protesters. The other issue is that if he wants to protest, it's interesting that he should choose Tibet as something to protest about, but there's a hell of a lot of things he ought to be standing up for and protesting in New Zealand before we worry about Tibet. And I realise that isn't a very popular point of view.
No, it's not. What flag would you be waving?
I wouldn't be waving any flag. I'd probably be...
Kane for mayor.
Shameless.
Hey, we haven't come very far. Napoleon said, China
Let China sleep.
But the whole world should be afraid when she awakes.
Yes. Look out for that panda paw.
And well, that was the other bit that came, that suddenly we're all excited because we might get a panda.
Yes, exactly.
So I think we should stop pandering to the Chinese.
There you go. Lovely pun. Now, we won't worry about the All Whites because everyone else has, and yes, we love them and we've been riveted.
I'm in love.
But we do need to have time for your brickbats and bouquets. You can set the world to rights. Who deserves a plug and a poke, Sheryl?
Brickbat for Bob Parker, who went to breakfast with the filthiest flat inhabitants in the whole of the country. I thought that was quite extraordinary. Bouquet, another one for Rosemary McLeod and her fabulous column about housing in New Zealand, and a little bypass towards Russell Norman's exhibition, I guess you could call it.
David.
2 brickbats, one to Justice Bill Wilson of the Supreme Court, who, if he had any decency or integrity at all, would have resigned instead of fighting this investigation into his very iffy behaviour. And the other brickbat to you, ladies and gentlemen, because when are you going to get off your big fat chuffs and start protesting about this disgraceful foreshore and seabed proposal of the government? For heaven's sake, wake up!
Are we still waiting for the fine print, perhaps?
The fine print's going to be worse. The devil is in the fine print.
Yes, exactly.
As Cardinal Spellman said once when signing a contract, the big print giveth and the fine print taketh away.
Joe Kane.
Yes, mine is called Soccer. Ryan Nelson, I'm in love. But leadership, professionalism, strength, you know, great role models, coaches that smile, show emotion, fantastic. Villain, whoever blew the whistle on Alan Hubbard. And the government and the way the government has handled it. well done to Timaru that turned out en masse today
did.
to support. I just think it's extraordinary how we just, cut down that tall poppy when perhaps it could have been handled a little bit more sensitively. Don't know what's behind it all, but...
No, but mud does stick, doesn't it? And
hey.
yeah, we'll see what comes. Now, to the image of the week. You'll occasionally see in the news hideous sights of wayward motorists who somehow manage to veer off the road and into people's houses. This particular case in point really takes the cake. A tractor ended up in someone's living room. I hope they weren't watching the footy at the time. That would really rip your shorts, wouldn't it? The NewsMakers poll, last week's question, should the police be breathalyzing all rugby spectators at the college school game? You were very split on this, but the no's had it, 42-58, the prize winner G. Taylor. This week's question was Russell Norman unfairly manhandled by the Chinese government bodyguards? Yes or no? Was it unfair, the treatment dished out to him? You can email newsmakers@ctv.co.nz. You can go to the web. We've reconstructed the website, by the way, or use Postman Pat, PO Box 1100 Christchurch. As a second poll question for you, by the way, should David Round keep his facial hair or not? You be the judge, and David's...
No.
David's facials are very much on the chopping block here. By the way, with our official poll, you can be in to win the Starbucks goodies and the Whitcool's gift card. Thank you.
Hey, money can go to charity.
There you go.
Can go to Bob's Fighting
This will be an early starter for Movember. Thank you very much to our panel, Sheryl Sutherland, looking as gorgeous as always, Joe Kane on the hustings, and David Round holding on to his short and curlies.
6 months. 6 months.
6 months. Have a good weekend. Good night.
Oh.